my delicious co-creators, Lilou here in beautiful, lovely Paris. Dain, here you are.
Paris, baby. I'm so excited. It is just such a thrill to be here.
Yes, thank you. I know that you're going to lead those workshops here and you're very excited to be in Europe. You're doing this whole European tour. I'm excited to have you on camera here with the Seine River and the bridges.
I know, it's beautiful. I mean, there is nothing like Paris. What do you say? I mean, you have, in a sense, you almost have to be here to experience it, to get the energy of it, but wow. Wow.
And we're going to have a wow conversation. Last time with Dain, we had a great conversation. Actually, it was in Santa Barbara in California. And we talked about sex and couple and money and what does it take to live this even greater life? How does it get any better than this? One of my favorite sentences to say when things happen, good or bad. How does it get any better than this? I love that. You're the author of Being You, Changing the World. And this is really what this conversation is about, because a lot of us want to contribute more. We have our heart, we feel like there is just our little, transforming our little me, you, our little beingness is just not quite enough now. And we just want to experience more, huh?
Yeah, exactly that. One of the things I've noticed in the workshops that I deliver is the conversations that we're having are less about people's personal problems and more about, look, we've got to do something different on our planet. The world that we've been living in and taking for granted and acting like we don't have the capacity to change, it's like that is changing. In other words, we're looking at it and going, wait a minute, enough of me pretending I am not a contribution here. Enough of me pretending this is not my planet and my home too, and enough of letting the insane people run this place. What about those of us who desire something different and greater and kinder and more gentle and more beautiful for all of us? What about us stepping up and actually claiming the capacity to actually make those choices? And this is what I'm seeing in the classes that I deliver that for me is so exciting, because it really is about when you get in touch with you, when you get out of judgment of you, when you start seeing possibilities, you become that contribution that is a gift to everybody.
Yeah. What does it take to really get down to that level? Are there some layers that you've kind of been able to identify?
Lots of things. Like, how long do we have? We could talk for the next 4 days about different layers and levels. And what it really boils down to, though, is a personal choice where somebody in their own world looks at their life and goes, you know what, I'm not going to live the life I've been living anymore. The parts that don't work for me. You know what I mean? Because
saying no.
Yeah, it's saying no and yes at the same time. It's saying no to all the yuck, all the crap, all the judgment of us, all the idea that we're somehow wrong. And saying yes to, you know what, I'm going to start to create a world and a life that is actually about me and about the wonder and beauty of being alive, not just the pain and suffering of being alive. Yeah.
And if it's about, so if I say this life is about me really and me just letting me be who I really am, then the contribution is just going to happen. Is that what you're saying? I'm
saying that's the start. And the interesting thing is you're like, yeah, there's a bit more. In fact, there's a lot more. Exactly. Scratch the layers, dive beneath the surface. But what happens is we've been told our entire lives that if we live our life from that place about doing what actually works for us, what is fun for us, and make anything about us, then we're somehow going to be selfish and arrogant. But what I found is the exact opposite. What this is about is not functioning from the kingdom of me, which is where you're the only one in your life and you step on people's heads to get where you want to go. It's an awareness that at our greatness and our greatest, we function from the kingdom of we, which is where everyone and everything is included in our choices. It's like the animals function from this. It's like rabbits who are known to shag like bunnies, They have that name for a reason, When it's going to be a bad year next year, they cut down on their having of babies. Why? Because they know it's going to be better for them and everybody else. Well, what do we do as humans? Well, when we're running out of water on our planet, we have more babies. It's like it's looking from this place of, if I were truly choosing what I know would create a greater life for me and everybody else, what would I choose? So it also undoes that thing where we think we have to choose just for everybody else, as though that's the way to contribute to people, because that doesn't work either. When you're just giving to other people, your batteries get depleted really, really fast. And so it's about contributing to you and contributing to everybody else from this thing that I like to call the kingdom of we.
It's inclusive, is it even a thinking process, or it's more like just a beingness?
Yep, it's a being process, if there is such a thing.
And otherwise, when we have to include others and this and that, we're holding back, I feel.
Well, and what you'll naturally do, and that's exactly...
In some ways, when we have to think, oh, is this going to please this person and that person? What about this person is going to think of me? And then there's a whole judgment that totally paralyzes us.
Yes. Yeah, and if you look at the people who've truly created change in the world or change in their families, they didn't do it from what is their point of, are these people's judgments going to be of me, and trying to make themselves small so they don't invoke those judgments. What they did was they went, look, you know what? I'm going to make this choice. You may judge me, but I know I need to make this choice. And what this is really about is being a leader in your life and in the world. And a leader isn't somebody who requires followers. A true leader is somebody who goes, you know what? I know there's a possibility over here. I know I need to go in this direction. I'm going to head there. You can lead, you can follow, but get out of my way.
It's an intuitive process.
Yeah.
It's consciousness. Where is that? What are we tapping in right there, and how to best tap into this huge thing?
Well, yeah, exactly. And it is a huge thing. It's a huge conversation we could have. And it is actually our consciousness. Because the thing is, our consciousness, which is, another word for it is our awareness. The only time we ever create a difficulty in our lives is when we go against our own awareness. And so this is about acknowledging the gift that our awareness is, first of all, and recognizing that we know things that we can't think. Knowing is far faster than thinking. And we keep trying to think our worlds into existence, which really compresses them. Because if you've ever tried to think yourself out of a problem, it doesn't work. You just get more and more twisted, more and more twisted and bent. So this is about going beyond thinking to what do we know? And one of the things that will always open up greater possibilities is asking a question. I'm a big proponent of this because asking questions always empowers. An answer always disempowers. Because for whatever answer or conclusion you come up with, nothing that doesn't match that judgment or that answer or that conclusion can come into your world. When you ask a question, on the other hand, all kinds of possibilities can open up. So one of the things you can ask is, what do I know about what's possible that I've never considered before? And what choice do I have available that I've never considered before? And if you recognize that you know something and that you have choices available that you've never considered before, all of a sudden your world starts to open up because you're asking these questions about that, and you just ask it and then move on with your life. And all of a sudden, in any area in which you ask that, let's say you've got a thing with your relationship, and you go, what do I know is possible that I've never considered before? And what choice do I have available that I've never considered before? And all of a sudden you get the energy, it opens things up. But that's the beginning, is getting out of the judgments and the conclusions of us, recognizing that we know something, and then also being willing to ask the question that allows us the capacity to actually choose according to that knowing. Because knowing is one thing. And one of the greatest challenges we've ever created is when we go against our own knowing. It's one of the things that kills us. Because, I worked with people who have been in relationships where they were there for 15 years, and I said, so when did you know that this wasn't going to work out? They went, 15 and a half years ago? Wow, and you denied your knowing. There was one lady, and she had been married, and she denied her knowing in getting into the relationship, and they didn't have a happy marriage, and she knew it, but she stayed. The reason she got married, even though she knew not to ahead of time, and we've all done that, right? In all kinds of ways. The reason she stayed married was because they had already sent out the wedding invitations. Or the reason she went through with the marriage. So, that's one example. But if you look over your life and look and recognize that you've known, like you get this little feather touch of awareness that kind of brushes against your cheek that's like, do this, or don't do this. And if we would follow that, our lives would start to show up as if by magic. Our world, if everybody in the planet actually followed their knowing, imagine how different the world would be. Because if you were functioning from your knowing and a sense of contribution to other people, there would be no war. It would cease to exist. And there are lots of things that would change dynamically if we just got that awareness.
Yeah, but we're in our fears, right? That's holding us back. It's like we keep on thinking, I can't do this because of that, or what if, and it's instead of being in the present moment, because what you're talking about really here is being in the present moment and keep on opening this up with this questioning. So it's really something somebody said, like your life is as big as the kind of question that you ask, you know, or I'm not saying this properly, but it's around that, you know, like the bigger your questions are, the greater your life is. So being in this questioning, in this inquiry, in this fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is the fun. It's so amazing to me how few people have any. You know what I mean? Especially, it's like the seekers of the world, the people that are out there going, I want something different, I want something different. They think they have to be serious about it. Yeah. But what our planet needs is more people laughing. Yeah. Our planet needs more people who have childlike wonder and childlike laughter, who just are happy for no reason, who are willing to go, wow, you know what? I'm having such a great day, but not have to say it to anybody, just have it for yourself. Because you know what happens when you tell people how happy you are. They look at you like, why are you happy? So what you do is you go, but be happy anyway. Yeah. Put whatever look you need to on your face, but be happy anyway, and recognize it's okay. You know, this is okay to be happy. And the thing about all of this, you know, is that we need some really practical tools to get out of the place that we've been functioning that is sort of like, I need to be in judgment of me, that's going to make things better, to the actually embracing the possibilities, actually getting to choose the possibilities. Because it's one thing to have somebody talk to you about possibilities and you go, yes, yes, yes. And then it's another thing to look at your life and go, oh, no, no, no. You know what I mean? So there's this...
We get disempowered really quickly too.
Yeah, exactly. And so what this is, like all of Access Consciousness and the seminars and the books and everything that we do is about getting you from that place where it seems like a no to where it is a yes in your life. So you're actually starting to enjoy being alive. You know, I mean, it's a really simple thing. You know, if you got when people used to ask me as a little kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'd be like, I want to be happy. And they'd be like, no, 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 you're not getting it. Do you want to be like an actor? Do you want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? Do you want to be a bus driver? I'm like, yeah, as long as I'm happy, right. You know, and it's
not conditioning. It was not conditional.
Yeah. Exactly. And I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, I'll do anything. What I want to be is happy. And it's funny because 15 years ago, as you know, I got to this place where I was so deathfully unhappy and got so tired of it that I was going to take my life if things didn't change. I had one session of Access Consciousness and the door opened and I was like, wow, has it always been this amazing here? You know, has it always been this beautiful? And so I know firsthand that this change is available, but what I want to do is let people know it. It's like, whatever they think it's like there is nothing that's not possible. And so if we recognize that and just have the inspiration of that and go, okay, I'm going to start asking some different questions in my life, like what else is possible? What choice do I have available that I've never considered before? What do I know that I've never acknowledged? And if I chose according to that knowing, what would I choose? You start to look at your life from a whole different place just from those three questions.
Yeah. There's a big part of energy work too in this Access Consciousness and what you're doing. Tell us more about that. How do you play with that and why is that so effective and powerful?
Well, the beauty of the quote-unquote energy work, and it's funny because I never even think of describing it as that, which is interesting but what I notice is when you do that sort of work, when it's the nonverbal, because we have a lot of verbal, which allows you to go back and specifically pinpoint things you want to change and how to get there, which is really exciting when you can pinpoint an area and literally see it change, like know it changes within minutes. That is really cool. So we have that. But the nonverbal part that we do, there's one thing we have called the bars. It's 32 points on the head that you hold them, and basically it's like defragging your hard drive and upgrading your operating system and gives you a sense of space. And you sort of go around the world going, wow, I don't have all this stuff in my head anymore. And so doing it the nonverbal way is great because people who are in their heads and who are thinking through everything and judging everything and that kind of thing, it's like they realize that it's like this gift of energy from the world around us, if you will, from the universe or whatever you want to call it. And it changes things on a pre-verbal and nonverbal level that change the basis for everything else. So it's like all the stuff that you picked up as a kid, all the stuff you've ever picked up, changes underneath everything else, and it changes basically the foundation or the platform for your life from one of angst or one of tightness or one of judgment to one of space and one of possibilities.
Are we talking here long-lasting changes, or is there, as long as we're not practicing this and doing this, then all of a sudden we're back at zero where we were before? Like, how do you explain this to build this up but if you drop the practice, then all of a sudden there's nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there's both, and everybody gets it differently. So there's not one thing that I can say, but one thing that I will say is I've seen dynamically long-lasting changes. I've had people who've come to me for an hour and 10 years later send me an email saying, "Do you remember me?" And I'm like, you worked on me, blah, 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 blah. I just want you to know that my whole life has changed. Or I just want you to know that thing that we changed physically is still gone. And I just thought you should know this, that what you do actually works. And I'm like, well, thank you very much. That's awesome, And I'm always grateful to receive that. I'm like, thank you. But what it is there are certain tools that we have that are really simple, like the thing about the asking of questions. Yeah. It's like, once you get how asking a question opens up, why would you stop? You know what I mean? It's like, really, why would you stop something that continues to make you feel lighter? So it's not even about doing access or practicing access or having access as our new catechism. You know what I mean? I'm like, I do access. It's not about that at all. It's about living your life. Yeah. And it's about taking the things that when you contribute them to your life, make your life better. So it's not about following, it's not about doing, it's not about having to stay in, having to do all this stuff. It's like, it's about your life. Come when you want, use whatever you want, take it home and use it in your life, leave whenever you want, come back if you want. You know what I mean? It's like, take it and apply it to your life in the way that you know. Because once again, you know. And this is the thing that if we recognized it, it's like, we know what's right for us. We always have. If we just got that, everything gets greater.
Yeah. And contributing more and taking it to the next step. I mean, what did you see in your own life? What did you have to overcome, or is there some things that you have done personally in parallel to all this work, like that you think this was pretty cool and this was much needed? In addition to that, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think we're all like multi-dimensional two beings, and there is plenty of stuff this planet provides for us to grow and contribute in a bigger way.
So many things. And for me, though, what happened was when I first came to Access, it changed my life so dynamically that for me, when something works like that, because I'm a seeker, like a lot of the people that watch you, right? People that have been looking for something different their whole lives and are like, please show me it's possible. Well, I had done every seminar I could get. I had read every book I could read. And yet I didn't get a sense of having ease in my life and this sort of long-lasting happiness, which is why I'm so glad you asked the question about how long does it last, Because I used to have the exact same thing. I'd go to a seminar, feel like everything was great, by Monday morning, yes, I finally found the answer, and by Wednesday I was back in the mess again. Which
energy drops, and you're not anymore into this.
Yeah, you're not anymore in that, and you're not anymore with the energy of all the people, and so now you feel like, oh, now I'm wrong again. I'm the only person who can't do this, you know what I mean? Well, what I've seen with Access is it's different. It's like, what it is because also you get these tools that are really practical to use in the world that we live in to change things in real time. Yeah. And when you see change in real time, the seeker in you gets excited. The person that's like, oh my God, really? I didn't think that would ever change, but it's changed. And then you get really excited. I'm like a little 6-year-old, like a big 6-year-old, actually. I'm a big 6-year-old with graying hair. Anyway, but it's like, I get so excited, and so do people that come and do these things, because they now actually have the real tools to change their life. So for me, when I came along and I noticed that this created that change, my thing was, well, I'm going to take this as far as it can go. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is actually, in every area I would look at, it was like shining what's that thing, that lighthouse, the bright light at the lighthouse. It's like, whatever I shined that light on and used these tools on, it started changing. Within moments to days to weeks for some things. When you see that, it's like, wow. And then also having been fortunate enough to be part of developing these tools and creating new tools and bringing them to people, it's like, it's sort of been the mainstay of all the change that I've created in my life.
You haven't added anything else to it?
Not very much, other than things for...
energy work, massage, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I love massage. It's great. It's awesome. I really like deep tissue massage. I like when somebody's like, I'm getting in there and helping you release this. I'm like, go for it, baby, go. So yeah, love massage. I also love, for me, it's like, I love to move my body.
Yeah, you exercise.
Yeah, I love it.
Looking good, Dain.
Oh, thanks, Lilou. So are you. May I point that out? And so what happens is I love to move my body. I love to ride my horse. I love to ride jet skis. I love to ride my motorcycle. I love to I love to do things that are fun. And I do it because it's fun for me. You know, I know some adrenaline junkies that need it just to feel like they have a pulse. I don't. I just love it. It just, and then, you know, at certain points I use different supplements and different things. And what I've noticed is after a little while of taking those, my body goes, cool, I got it now. I don't need them anymore. And I'm like, really? I didn't know our bodies could do that. Well, my body showed me we can do that too. So there's lots of things that I've tried and done along the way. And once it sort of feels like it's created the change, then I move on. But this has been the mainstay of everything. Because what happens is, what I tell people is, look, you're going to get all kinds of tools when you come to Access classes or read any of the books or do that. Add them to your life. Add them to whatever it is you're already doing that's working. Don't give up anything that's already working. Right. Just add this to it, because you'll see the places where it can enhance it or make it better. And if what you're doing is better than this in an area, then do that. You know, do what works. Don't feel like you need to come and do this. Just add it to your life.
Yeah. Give us some news of Gary Douglas that I've interviewed the same day I interviewed you in his ranch in Santa Barbara. I know you see him often in Texas. I think you guys live closer in the same kind of property area. Tell us how he's doing.
Oh, phenomenal. He was just facilitating a class called Benevolent Capitalism, which with some two wonderful business consultants in Australia who really are looking to create a different paradigm for business, where it's about the contribution we can be, but also the creation of a greater future. And he's doing phenomenally. It's like he's got wonderful friends, he's got wonderful people in his life, and is just off the charts in the change that is currently being available with what we're creating and access to. And for both of us, that's the source of energy. You know, it's like, yes, I'm alive, you know, because when you see that you can contribute to people, somebody you couldn't contribute to 6 months ago because you didn't have the tool. And now when you see that you can, it's one of the greatest gifts there is. It's just so energizing. So he's doing great.
Yeah, he created that how long ago?
25, 26, 27 years ago.
I saw how he got criticized, and I saw it on Guy MTV or some of the interview I've done with him, because he says things that people don't sometimes want to hear, but he went past that, beyond that, to contribute, you know, beyond the judgment. Do you know how he dealt with that, or how do you deal with that when there is those thoughts?
Absolutely. We got a tool for that. Actually, we got lots of tools for that, but let me give a really simple one. See, the thing is, when you're in allowance, you're like the rock in the stream. Everything comes at you and goes around you. All the thoughts, feelings, emotions, the attitudes, the judgments, all of people's projections and their expectations of you and their separation from you based on it, and all that just comes at you and goes around you. When you're in allowance, what is allowance? Well, allowance is not acceptance. You know, there are a lot of people that say you need to be in acceptance. No, when you're in acceptance, you accept that it's real. When you're in allowance, you look at it as an interesting point of view. So one really cool tool that will work is, like, take an upset that you've had sometime in the last few weeks that is still there, and just get that energy and just say to it, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Usually it starts shifting right then. Now, to that new energy, just once again, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. More shift. And again, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Now, what's happened to it? For most people, between 3 and 10 times of just saying that, which is so weird because you're not, you know, invoking or anything, you're just saying it. But between 3 and 10 times of saying, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, to the energy that's there, all of a sudden it dissipates. So part of the reason he's able to handle all of these judgments, and, you know, we get a lot of judgment. When you're truly changing the world, you're going to get judgment. And, you know, and I don't say that from a place of the arrogance that some people would say, I'm changing the world. I don't mean it that way. When you're truly creating change, you're going to get judgment. And that's the big thing that has stopped most people, because they get these judgments and they're like, no, these judgments must be right. What if they're not? What if their judgments are not right? And what if you didn't have to live by making yourself so small that you would try to avoid their judgments? Because one of the other things you want to have really practically is, making yourself small doesn't stop people from judging you. It just lets them know in their mind that they were right for judging you. See how bad you were. We have a different point of view. Have an interesting point of view about it. And for all that weird, twisted stuff that comes up, when you receive judgment, just say, interesting point of view, I have this point of view to it, like we just did, as many times as it takes for you to get free. Other people's judgments of you are just their limited point of view that they're throwing in your direction. It doesn't mean it's real and true. And just because they're judging you doesn't mean you're a bad person. What they're telling you is they're a judgmental person. That's the only thing it means, is they function from judgment, and and the reason people judge you is because they're trying to limit you, stop you, and control you. If you let that happen, you stop the contribution you are to the world, and to your family, and to your friends, and to the people out there that are seeking something different. Because one of the primary things so many of us are seeking is to be able to go beyond judgment's power to limit us and control us.
Beautiful, Dain. My God, this is a great conversation. Thank you so much for this interview, and thank you for being here, showing up in Paris, in my neck of the wood.
Thank you so much. I told you when we first saw each other today, I said, I think it's your fault. You know, we did that interview in Santa Barbara, and I went, I want to go to Paris. Thank you.
We're glad to have you here. Very happy. Thank you.
Thanks, Lilou. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Much, much love from delicious, beautiful Paris. Welcome you here, too. This is delicious.
Yes.
Bye.